Namaskar. Welcome to this session of Straight Drive. I'm Sudhanshu Mani. Friends, we will once again talk about Make in India transitioning to Atmanirbhar Bharat today. But I will not take the beaten path. Today I will try to deliver a very short but pithy and meaningful message in respect of Atmanirbharta. Let's start by first putting away all that I would call is been there, done that, or deja vu. Starting with the 20 lakh crore package of the Prime Minister, 10% of the GDP. Well, some say it's actually 3 lakh crore or 4 lakh crore, but that's not significant. What is significant is whether this package, this stimulus, is going to make a severe dent in well-being of our farmers, our workers, our middle class, and whether it would help revive the economy. Still early days, so we wait and watch. We'll also soon begin to see whether the so-called global opportunity in this COVID world, which is staring at us, which had been staring at us for some time, whether we have actually been able to make good use of it and exploit it. We will also gloss over the impassioned pitch that was made for Atmanirbhar Bharat, intertwined with the global platform in the spirit of Vishwa Kalyan, and whether India can actually, as was intended, to be altruistically capable to meet not only its own but world aspirations, and whether our yoga, our medicine can actually go on a global path towards helping the mankind, or we would remain what we were, the factory of the world, the manufacturer of the world for cheap, inexpensive medicines, whereas the core, the R&D work for developing new medicines is done in USA or West or even China today, but not in India. We have to also wait and see how our attempt to blank out China from our industrial and consumer space pans out. These are early days, once again, but India has never been a very favorite destination for investments. We definitely need to free ourselves of this semblances of a command, a centralized economy, and let the entrepreneurial skill flourish by removal of all the bureaucratic hurdles. So we have structural problems like manufacturing ecosystem, cost of capital, supply chain, logistics, skill set availability, changes in policy instead of a system which has constants of policy, and so many other issues. We have been talking of sustained reforms in these areas. The time to do these reforms is now. The government has shown some inclination, and at least it is not unapologetic about privatizing the PSUs, but some solid action, perceptible progress is still to be seen. We have to wait and watch. Well, industry also has to do a lot. It has its own share. Let me bring you once again to the story told by MD of Wheels EMI, Mr. Srinivas Kantheti, who had written that while the world in India is talking about China and its unfair practices, he related the story of where the Indian industry was able to beat the Chinese, that is the two-wheeler segment. We definitely need more and more such stories in our industrial landscape. We have also been speaking ad nauseum about improving the skill set of our workmen. So I have to go back to that interview of Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, in 2017 at the Fortune Global Forum. He had said that it is almost unthinkable for any country to match what Chinese have done because they have acquired such extraordinary skills, an intersection of craftsman skill as well as sophisticated robotics. Again, efforts are on, and so I understand, so we have to wait and watch. So you see, everyone's job is cut out, but there is something which is missing, or at least has not come to the fore with the same urgency, importance, or significance, and that is the spirit of innovation, the spirit of creation of technology, creation of products, a pride in products and technologies developed by Indian minds. Now let's see. Make in India. It has not really taken us very far. It defines local content. And what is local content? The procurement value of any item, excluding the domestic duties, minus the cost of import of that item plus the customs. And the value that you get is the local content. And if this is 50% of the total value, then you are eligible for many SOPs and preferential ordering in government contracts. But this is so much open to manipulation and gross misuse. See, USA also has a Buy America policy. But all overseas manufacturers have to go through a stringent audit verification at component level. Our audit, if at all, is perfunctory, remains on paper. The Make in India has to have a new avatar as a part of Atmanirbhar Bharat, to have design development in the country as an essential, else we remain an importer of technology or a leased manufacturing space. I can tell you, friends, of umpteen appalling examples, both in my working life and later, of lack of government and corporate support for new homegrown ideas and technologies and products. If we don't develop our own, we will continue to hop back where we were every 15 years. There are a million minds in India, and if I may say so, I'm using it in a positive sense. Million minds with a bee in their bonnets, but institutional support prevents us seeing these dreams turn into vision, action, and fruition. What should we take pride in? India has developed its own fighter plane, HAL Tejas, which took 35 years in development. There were many shortcomings, hitches, and glitches. But now some handful have been deployed, and future orders are going to have many improvements. It is a job cut out for HAL. All said and done, it is our own. That is something to take pride in. But what happened recently? When these 5 Rafales landed from France in Ambala, every TV channel was gaga, talking about landing, and as if it was a great achievement. This was a purchase, a necessary purchase for our defense, no doubt. But to take pride in something like this and proclaiming on TV channels that Rafale Aya, Cheen Tharraya. Now, how juvenile can that discourse be? as if this improvement was equivalent to Mangalyaan or something even more than that. Recently, there was so much talk about India manufacturing so many PPEs and masks and some ventilators. Now, that doesn't make us great innovators and manufacturers. We cannot set our sight so low that for a country of our size, this can be an achievement. I'm neither underplaying the accomplishment nor am I a devil's advocate. But we have to guard against becoming a victim of our own rhetoric, our own buzzwords. Do we want to limit our manufacturing to screwdrivering technology, assembling CKD and PKD kits imported from abroad with almost no value in technology, innovation, or process engineering? Friends, we are where Japan was, to my mind, in late 1940s and 1950s, or where China was in 1990s. We may not like to copy them, but we have to imitate them in some manner at least. The spirit of innovation must rule. We have to take the bull by the horn and invest in development of our own products and technologies. I come back to my cliche of this transfer of technology being an oxymoron. This acquisition of technology from abroad, transfer of technology from some company abroad, is what we have done for last 70 years, and perhaps it was necessary. It has taken us somewhere, but now it has become a crutch, because technology is not merely a set of documents and drawings and a training given by the provider and so on. It's much more. Technology is a creation. It lives in the heart and mind of the creator, and that cannot be transferred. It's time for us to create our own. It is time for us to unleash the creator in ourselves. We need not be foolish and tread in areas where we are not capable. For example, the high speed train between Mumbai and Ahmedabad. We definitely needed the loan as well as the know how from the Japanese. But there are so many areas where we are capable today, or we are just near the threshold. And this is the time to encourage that. We must act. Development of our own products and technology has to be the soul of self reliance in the long term. Industry and similar institutions should do their bit, no doubt. But the primary role in this effort has to be that of the government. Only the government can exploit large projects and the attendant huge investments to drive indigenous effort. Private entities with their bottom line concerns can only do so much. Now, example, government has invested so much in rolling stock, trains, in Indian railways, and much more in metros. But either we are manufacturing a 25-year-old technology for Indian railways, or we are at a screwdriver technology for metro trains without any great value addition of the mind or the heart in India. Another example, battery buses. I believe a large demand is going to come through in India. But the heart again, the electronics, the controls are imported. The batteries are imported. It's only the body which is built here. It does not speak well for a country of our size. We have invested so much in renewable energy, solar installations. But you must be knowing the heart again, the cells, the batteries, the electronics are mostly imported. Why is it that Indian companies are not encouraged to invest in these technologies with government support, preferential ordering? There are other areas of government spend which have unnecessarily been made holy cows by bureaucrats, either because of lack of confidence, inaction, or even corruption. And that prevents growth of homegrown technologies. The government must support the industry morally and financially through subsidies and incentives, and more than that, ordering. Subsidies and incentives in terms of cheap land, specially sourced raw materials, export facilitation, even enabling government institutions and design centers to lend manpower and resources. But more than that, ordering on Indian companies which show an acumen for R&D. Government will have to underwrite the risks for such projects so that these companies feel the comfort of developing new products. And believe me, there are many straining at their leash for the government to embolden them to experiment and flourish. Friends, ISRO and to some extent DRDO worked under a regime of denial of technology by developed nations. And in this environment, and freed from stifling bureaucracy and restrictions, they have given us Chandrayaan, Mangalyaan, and missiles which we can truly be proud of. अब ये सिर्फ दिमाग का खेल नहीं है, ये दिल, दिमाग और जिगर का खेल है. दिमाग for the talent, dimag for the capability, heart for the passion, and jigar for the boldness and the chutzpah. With support of Government of India, we in India can develop thousands of homegrown technologies in a matter of years. And when that happens, India would be a true Atmanirbhar country. This was the message which I wanted to give today. Thank you very much. I hope you like the program. I'll be back again next Thursday with another burning issue of the day. Thank you very much. Namaskar.